Today I'm going to talk about ketosis and why this is a metabolic state that our ancestors spent a lot of time in. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? It's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about ketosis, okay, which is a pretty popular yet controversial subject right now. If you're not familiar with what ketosis is, then let me briefly explain. Basically, ketosis is a metabolic state in which ketone bodies in your blood are elevated. Ketones are a metabolite of fat. Okay, so basically when you have elevated ketone bodies in your blood, you have elevated levels of fat metabolites in your blood. Your cells in your body are running off of fat, which are these metabolites known as ketones, and not glucose, which is a form of sugar. Your body can go into this ketogenic state where the cells of your body are running and fueling themselves on ketones through two primary, mechanisms. One is by eating an ultra high fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate diet, and the other is fasting or abstaining from food for long periods of time. Now, many people are curious about ketosis. Maybe they've heard the word, maybe they're, wondering what the benefits are, or even some of the drawbacks and dangers of it, and I'm going to discuss some of these things to you today. To begin, I'm going to make this statement right off the bat here that our ancestors, especially ancestors that came from northern, climates, especially during the winter time, spent a great deal of time in ketosis. Now, if you're familiar with a ketogenic diet, which is a style of eating that brings on ketosis, which like I said earlier is high fat, moderate protein, low carb, then you may be asking yourselves, how were our ancestors, in ketosis? Are you saying that they're eating a really high fat diet all the time? That doesn't seem natural. Well, the answer to that is not so simple. As I said earlier, it really depends on the geographical location of your ancestors, also the time of the year. But oftentimes our ancestors did spend a lot of time in a ketogenic state, in ketosis, especially if you have ancestors, like I said earlier, that are from those northern climates, and during the winter time, it was very normal for them to transition into ketosis because all carbohydrate sources naturally available are pretty much gone during the winter months in those kind of climates. During the winter months in those kind of climates, it's presumable to think and assume that our ancestors were eating mostly, fish, meat, and other kind of really nutrient-dense animal sources of protein, and they just weren't moving around a lot, right? They're trying to stay warm. They're eating a little bit of protein here and there. They're definitely not eating fruits and vegetables in those winter months. It's also logical to suspect that the cycles of feast and famine, where you would find some food, eat it, and then go long periods of time without eating food again, probably increased during the winter time just due to the scarcity of food availability, right? There's not a lot of food available in the winter. So the frequency that people were fasting just out of necessity most likely was higher in the winter months when there was less of an abundance of veggies and foods around that you would have in the spring and the summer, which is another reason why, especially during that time of the year, our ancestors were probably in a ketogenic state for, a good chunk of time. Remember, when you're fasting, you also go into ketosis, right? Your body is breaking down its own fat cells in a catabolic fashion, and it's basically running its own cells off of stored fat, which is why humans store fat in the first place. It's stored energy. We're meant to be able to do that when we go long periods of time without eating. Now, this video is not about the health benefits of ketosis, of which there are many. I plan on talking about that more in future videos. The reason why I wanted to make this video is I wanted to make this argument that, our bodies are not meant to be fed with carbohydrates all the time, right? There are times when we should go into ketosis. Do I think it's right for everybody? No. Do I think that you should be in ketosis all the time? No, especially not during the summer and spring when naturally we have access to, fruits and vegetables. But I do think that it is important to dip in and out of it, especially during the winter months, especially if you're somebody that lives far away from the equator, when it's not natural at all for you to be eating fruits. If you live in Michigan like I do and you're eating a pineapple in January, that is not natural. That is not how your bodies are wired. That's not how you evolved. Your ancestors weren't eating that way. Your physiology is not meant to basically be consuming high carbohydrates during those months. So, coming full circle with this, again, I'm not saying ketosis is for everybody. I'm not saying that I'm not a zealot, right, with this like some people are, where I think you should be in it all year round. I think you should eat seasonally. and according to what's available in your local geography, and also considering where your ancestors are from, right? It's much more natural to be in ketosis in the winter. You know, you can kind of apply that broad sweeping statement to a lot of things. You know, it's much more natural to do it then than it is the summer, and we're coming up on the fall and the winter, so I'm going to be talking about the ketogenic diet a lot more. Also, just to be clear on things, I'm not saying that a ketogenic diet is the best way to do it. It's a tool in your arsenal, but I honestly think that ketosis is more naturally brought on by fasting than by eating a ketogenic diet. I think that our ancestors were most likely found themselves in ketosis just as a result of fasting, rather than eating a high-fat, moderate protein and low-carb diet. But if you want to learn more about the ketogenic diet, which like I said is a tool that you can use, you can have it in your arsenal, then you need to get my new guide, Keto Quick Start. Okay, so this is a guide that I put together with my friend who's a health coach in Toronto named Brian Hardy. Basically, he and I teamed up on this. We put together a guide all about ketogenic dieting, all the tools you need, the benefits of it, and a lot of other things. Okay, we put recipes in there, tools that you need, a lot of really cool things, and we kind of continue with this ancestral perspective of ketosis, right? We don't advocate for eating bacon and eggs with every meal, right? We include tons of plants, tons of veggies, tons of micronutrients in our approach to this. This is a guide that I think you're really going to get a lot of value off of, especially if you're somebody that is not familiar with ketosis, but you're wanting to become introduced to it and you're curious about it. Okay, so if you want our new guide, Keto Quick Start, then open up the description down below, click the first link available there, or click the link in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, go ahead and do that by clicking this. And if you're looking for another place to get Keto Quick Start, you can click this button here. That'll take you to my website. We'll ask you for your email. As soon as you enter it in, we'll send you the guide right away. If you want to see more videos like this, then check out this video over here. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time.